Chords and Coffee with Nate and Jess, part 2. Here we go. Jessica is a recent convert to coffee. Give her a thumbs up in the old comment section down there. And by the way, I recommend a coffee that I am fairly indiscriminate when it comes to coffee. Like I will drink gas station dirt water. By the way, cool band name. But I just been drinking coffee a long time, and so I don't get me wrong, I love a nice fancy pants coffee, but the basic brown bean water is just as good as anything else. And in fact, if you've been watching Chords and Coffee, Aaron Harms, I'm thinking about you. There's what episode was that? I don't know. Anyway, it's one of them, basic brown bean water episode. Anyway, so today we are going to talk about accompaniment, and we're going to further unpack specifically a couple of ideas. Number one, inviting risk. We're going to play a tune. We've played this a few times, but we haven't really it wasn't one that we had in our repertoire. And so we're going to play Wayfaring Stranger. It's a minor key, very minor, and what I mean by very minor is that there are some half-steppy kind of little things you can do in there that are like, this is straight up in a minor key, no doubt about it. There's another version, and we'll, after we unpack this for a little bit, then we'll look at this other version that's an Eva Cassidy version. And if you don't know about Eva Cassidy, you got to check out Eva Cassidy. Left Us Too Soon, an amazing singer. And so Richard Holland had commented the last time Jess and I did a video together, hey, unpack this idea of inviting risk. And so we're going to do that. Thank you for the suggestion, Richard. Thank you for all the encouragement for us to do another video. And so here we are.
Thank you.
And Dave McCrate, my old buddy Dave, I love you, buddy. He said, talk about some of your influences. Well, I thought about Wayfaring Stranger because I thought, what was one of the records that my dad would play? And there was an old Emmylou Harris record. And I think it was Roses in the Snow, something like that. Comment below if you know what I'm talking about. She's wearing that white shirt, and she's kind of like, I'm Emmylou Harris on the cover. Anyway, she's kind of got a little bit of a sideways look at you. Anyway, she's a beautiful lady. And you are lovely, my dear, as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Pray for my marriage. Anyway, so, my dad would play this record. And so I'm going to try it. It's in C minor. We're going to be capo, 3rd fret. Playing it as though it's an A minor. When I start talking about these chords, I'm going to refer to it as though it's an A minor, but it's not. It's C minor, capo, 3rd fret. Always check your tuning, by the way, when you throw on a capo. Because if you don't, the chances of you being in tune is you won't. And I understand if you're in the middle of the heat of the battle, you got to do what you got to do. Anyway, let's do this here. Wayfaring Stranger, C minor, here it comes.
Traveling through
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about it. So, I'm approaching this again as though I'm in A minor, okay? The hardest part for me just then, and literally, I mean, like if you look at my face, I make some guitar faces, and if I'm doing like this, I'm not conscious of that. So whatever face I make when I'm playing guitar, I really feel like, and this ought to be in the United States Constitution. I'm just saying right now, government, hear me. You're not. Anyway.
No, they are.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly. Ugh. You can't be held responsible if you're playing and really into it for what your face is doing. I mean, you've seen the memes with like John Mayer and Carlos Santana holding the slugs. Have you seen that? If you haven't, I'll send them to you. I don't know how, but just comment below and say, "Show me the slugs." Anyway, you can't be held responsible. But at the beginning, I'm playing there and I'm trying to keep it as tiny as I can because I'm capoed up. And when you're capoed up and you're doing a solo performance especially, or maybe you're in the middle, you're playing with your band and you're in a spot in the song, when you get as big as you can get, which was on this F chord, it's really A flat, but again, capo. That's as big as I'm gonna get. I can't get any bigger. So instead of trying to use my right hand to, make that bigger, I have to get my smaller, so that the dynamic range is increased on the back half. Does that make sense? Let me say it again. So if I want my big, which can't get any bigger, to be bigger, I got to make my smaller.
Yes.
Whew. All right. So with that, I had to... And really, I was holding on to the groove with my foot and my just trying to keep it, And so, what was I doing? Well, I'm playing an A minor, and I'm lifting it off here. Sometimes I'd lift the whole thing off to get kind of this G chord, then back to the A minor, right? Or just lift these two fingers off so you just have that one little note there. I'm thinking of it as a C. Again, it's really an E flat, or thinking of it as a top of a C chord, right? But it's really an E flat, right? Back to that C minor, right? And then when I went to the 4 chord, which is F minor, again, I'm thinking of as D minor. I'm playing just a good old D minor straight out of the Mel Bay book, index finger on the 1st fret of the E, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B, and then 2nd fret is held by the middle finger on the G string. You're doing so good to be patient during this. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I would lay my index finger down on the 1st fret and cover both of those guys to make this D minor 7 kind of thing. And then hit that low G, pull back into there. So, right? And then when you get to the chorus, I'm playing the full F bar chord. But, and let me ask you, as a singer, was this messing with you? You noticed I was doing this. I'm going. Did that mess with you at all?
No.
Or did you even notice it?
I did notice it, but I like weird chords. I like layering my vocals with weird chords, so I
didn't mess with her.
I trusted him.
By the way, there's the lesson right there. Singer, how about this? Not just singing, but musicians, people in relationships together. You go faster if you trust one another.
Yeah.
Even if you're not sure where the other one is going. Ask my wife. She can write a dissertation about not being sure where he's going, right? Okay. So I'm doing this F, and all I'm doing, just good old-fashioned F bar chord. Take your bar off. Hold down the F on the 1st fret, and the B and the E are ringing open. So it's really F major 7 sharp 11, which is the most Lydian thing possible. Chords and Coffee number 4 for more on the Lydian thing. And then I went to the C, and I took this off too. Now that's my own little spin on that. That's not on the Emmylou Harris thing, but I just like the way that felt. And I was trying to sing harmony and failing miserably, but that's okay. And so then I went back to the F again, and then the C major 7, taking your index finger off, and then this. So Don Was, back in the late 90s, Don Was, amazing producer. He did a man, he did an album called Country Rhythm and Blues with some country artists and some rhythm and blues artists. There's a version of the song Patches with George Jones and B.B. King, make you cry every time. Every single time. It's beautiful. So listen to that. But he did another record, and it was Amazing Grace, and there was a volume whatever, but there was a bunch of country artists, and I think it was Trace Atkins.
Oh.
Is that the guy, the big tall guy with the big bass voice, long ponytail, likes grilled cheese sandwiches? Yeah. Anyway, he did, and he I think did exactly the arrangement from Emmylou Harris, but boy, he's got some players on that, and this chord made me think of that because I remember that being on that record. So this is an E7, so make a good old-fashioned E chord, if you can tell that, sorry. And then pinky on the 3rd fret of the B. Now what you're going to do is index finger is going to be on the 2nd fret of the A, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G. So that's an E7 sus4. One could argue for E11. Won't get into that. And then just a good old E7, so that little switch there, and then back to that. And then I tried some little solo-y kind of stuff, and there was some good stuff in there, I thought. Then there was a few, but we got through it anyway. And then back into it. Now at the very end, let me ask you this: when we did the slowdown at the very end, and I went, did that mess with you?
It was a signal to me of where the song was going, and then I needed to pull my voice back.
But specifically, did these sort of stairway chords mess with you?
No. Again, I loved it.
So what it did, I heard in your voice, if you go back and listen to that again, what I did was I did this A minor, and it's this and then it's the stairway, or Don't You Worry About a Thing, or all the kind of the salsa sort of thing, right. And all I'm doing is index finger across the. Okay, remember this is really the 8th fret, but we're gonna call it the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th fret, right? Index finger across here. Actually, I'm just going to give it to you as it is. 8th fret, and then ring finger on the 10th fret, and then middle finger on the 9th fret, and then I kind of went from the B string from the 10th to 11th fret, and then just straight across the 8th fret right there, and then to good old this. I'm thinking of it as an A minor, so D9. Right, and this is middle finger on the, again, it's really 8th fret, so 8th fret, index finger on the 7th fret, and then you can either, I think I did it like this, where I had the ring finger on the 8th fret of the G, and then the pinky on the 8th fret of the B, and then I went to this minor 9. Isn't that pretty? And so that's ring finger on the 8th fret of the A string, middle finger on the 6th fret of the D, index finger on the 5th fret of the G, and then pinky on the 8th fret of the B. Cool thing with the capo is you get up top here. These stretchy things aren't as stretchy because everything's kind of scrunched together, which presents its own challenge, being scrunchy. And then, I know you do. And then up here, and then here. And then, let me give them this chord real quick. I don't hear what you got to say. And then this is middle finger on the 10th fret of the... So we go from F minor 9, or D minor 9, is how I'm thinking about it, to this G7 with... What is that? With a flat 9. Okay, so 10th with the ring finger. Middle finger's on the... 10th ring finger on the A string. Middle finger on the D string, 9th fret. Pinky on the 10th of the G. Oh, I'm sorry. Ring finger, A string, 10th fret. Index finger, 9th fret. D string, pinky, G string, 10th fret. And then your middle finger is on the 9th fret of the B. Ooh. And then switch those guys. So index finger is now on the 8th fret of the B. And then middle finger is on the ninth fret of the D, and then back to the A. And I think I actually, and I ended on that kind of minor major 7 thing, which is the second chord of that little stairway deal, right? If there's any chord in there specifically, or if you want me to unpack that specifically, I'd be happy to. So, do you have any? You had a thought that you were going to say.
I was just talking about the end of that when you asked me about it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going a certain route that I pick up on, and I'm trusting that you're going somewhere, I already know your style, but I'm sure that not everybody on that side is going to have that relationship with everyone, you know. And so your chords that you were hitting, I knew to change my chord structure to meet it. It's a duh thing, but that's another way that I'm like, oh, we're going this way, and it felt right, and it was good, and
yeah,
so
100%. And to that point, if you're ever working with somebody that you've never worked with before, and I have found myself in situations like this where I did my thing, and it was not received, and that's okay. I mean, that's, rule number 1. If you're doing something and you're trying to make good music with folks, and you're trying to invite everyone, the audience, the band on the stage, the person running sound, the person who owns the venue, everyone to enter into this moment. Sometimes your personal preferences and your will to make your imprint on the music will not be able to be accomplished because you have to serve the song and serve the moment. You just got to be patient with it. Gosh, I was watching here recently. Tom Bukovac was playing. With I'm a huge Tom Bukovac fan, and he's doing this Vince Gill thing where they're honoring Vince Gill and just playing beautiful stuff. And really, honestly, there was a lot of it that was pretty simple, but it was his touch and everything else. And he's got a million miles of licks that he could have rolled out and all these different beautiful chords. And he did do a lot of that, but he also kept it very simple, and, yeah, absolutely. So I love you, Uncle Larry. You're amazing. Okay, hey, bring up that Eva Cassidy version real quick. I see we're running out of time, but we'll be quick on this. Eva Cassidy. If you haven't heard of Eva Cassidy, she left us too soon. She was an amazing singer, kind of a jazz singer that did a lot of pop stuff. But go ahead, can you play a little bit of this Wayfaring Stranger? Almost a little Wes Montgomery. So, thank you. What's interesting on her version, when they get to the chorus, instead of doing I'm going down, or what would it be? I'm going down. Let's see. So it'd be this. Right? This is the normal version. So instead of doing those chords, you got it? How they do it? I'm going there. No more to roam. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over. Yeah. So that's on the verse, but it's okay. Eventually she goes, I'm going down. They go to the dominant 7 instead of just a big major thing right there. So the whole thing, can you try it a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, just do a verse and a chorus. So you get the idea there. That's another cool take on it. And in fact, I mean, that would be something if you were really stretching the song, you might be able to morph something like we did the first time into that take. So there's a lot of different things you can do with arrangement and just changing. I mean, to me, in that arrangement, just changing this chord into that chord, that is enough to be like, whoa, right? Totally. Of course, the tempo. Obviously, that's probably more, even a bigger deal is the tempo. But that tempo makes this kind of feel possible. And all that is I'm playing an F sharp 9, like the James Brown way, which is the same 9 as we did a second ago, to that B minor 7. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. We've got some really cool things coming up. I am really grateful. Thank you so much for being so hospitable to my wife, Jessica, and inviting her along to the Chords and Coffee community. If you've got a song that you would like to see us do, please comment below, and we'd be happy to consider it. We're enjoying kind of doing these old hymns because it's, you know, it's kind of in both of our lives, and you know, it's a little country, a little Americana, and there's a lot of neat things you can do. And also, they've just been done so many times, they sort of invite themselves to new arrangement ideas. So if you've got an idea, we'd love to hear about it. We love your comments. We thank you for watching. We're grateful for you. Y'all have a good rest of your day. We'll see you next week.
Bye.